Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. We appreciate your viewership and thank you, loyalty, for all y'all been doing over the years and keeping us posted on things going around and different outdoor activities. We couldn't do the show without your feedback, so we always appreciate it. Let's get started with our weather, brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and his hard-working crew taking care of everyday comfort needs. High today 66, low 41. I'm looking out on the road that Friday is going to hit 71 Friday, so Friday's going to be a good day. But believe it or not, they're talking about rain again this weekend, but that's a long way off. Our water temperature is 59 at the end of the pier. Take a look at our river readings brought to us by Panama City, Coca-Cola. Good folks down there. We're looking at the Apalachicola, Bluntstown at 13.7. It is level out, but it's still high water down there. Choctawhatchee, Careville, over there, it's on the rise, 8.7, and it's going up. The rain we've had is sort of in that watershed and it's having an effect, like it always does. The water temperature in the pier, I mentioned earlier, it's gone up. It's gone up like 4 degrees now in the last two to 3 weeks. So it's really making a little jump right there. So that's important. Take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today, February the 6th on a Tuesday, great tides. We're looking at a low tide this morning, right around now, 5:09. Starting to come in, it's going to be high at 6:34. We've got an incoming tide. This is some good fishing weather. Trust me on this one. And I was going to tell you, I don't have the pictures, but Bill Allen and they went out Saturday. They caught some nice fish on that really good tide, and we'll talk more about that. Maybe get him to come on the show and talk about it. Our wind direction coming out of north at about 10. I want to say a good morning to the Hammer Down Development crew, Matt, Andrews, Brandy, and the whole team there, Hammer Down. I went by there the other day to see them. Their shop now is on 390. Got plenty of room and staying really busy. So we appreciate their sponsorship. Good, hard-working people right there. All right, Hammer Down. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I have some few pictures I've gathered together to show you this morning. This is Mandy Miller Warren. She says, yep, every time. And what she's talking about, see, right there, you cut those, got all these water bottles and drinks and all this plastic. I still do this because they showed me this when I was a kid. Now, and that's true. You know, they get out in the water and animals and all get caught in them. And there was a big push at one time showing young people about what those wrappers were doing to different wildlife. I had a lot of pictures, and now Mandy remembers that as a kid. And I thought to myself, what a testimonial to teaching those conservation things to a young person, because she still does it, and nobody throws, you know, a lot of times people don't do it intentionally. A lot of times it just blow out of the boat. So just be aware of that, and be aware of getting young people doing conservation things like that. Thank you, Mandy Miller Warren. Okay, for the Panama City hunting page, where that time of the year, Tiffany Anderson said, looking for upcoming deer leases that are available, preferably one that has less than 10 members, and strict rules on bucks taken. So I can understand that. So get on the Panama City hunting site. There's also on the other side too. Steve Taylor, pastor at Emerald Coast Fellowship. We won't talk about gators today. Weather's so nice that gators are sunbathing down here in Florida. Gets you some sunshine. Now I can tell you, he didn't say where he was, but folks, that's up at Deer Point Lake with a drawdown, and that's a good picture, Steve Taylor. But they, you know, that weather was good some, and they get out in the sun and just sunbathe. Good picture there of a gator. Last week I showed the bridge at Bluntstown being built in 1937, and people, how in the world they go from Bluntstown to Bristol? Well, it was a ferry. Fortunately, this picture, someone took this picture back in 1928, and this is the landing, the ferry at Neal's Landing. And they put the cars on there, and all the rivers around here, Choctawhatchee, the Yellow River, all these rivers had ferries. And it really, you had to be, you were on their schedule. I've heard some good stories. There's one up at West Bay, and I heard some stories about you know, he's going to go at 8 o'clock or 12 o'clock, whatever. He's not going to go 5 minutes before. But they were real strict on their schedule and all on the ferry. So anyway, I like to show those realistic old pictures. Speaking of realistic, let's go to the future, what's going on. We've had them on since I've done the show, really, the Mexico Beach Artificial Reef Association. And that's Mitch Coleman, and that's just a group photo, but I thought that was really neat. There's Tennessee Chuck, right there kneeling down in a brown sweater. He's an amazing guy. But become part of something special. And these reefs around here are just, really they are something special. So again, shout out to those guys and girls doing all that work down there for the betterment of our area. Okay, here we go again. Now this is on a hunting lease on the other side. Now that right here, we're looking for a few members for a still hunting lease. Okay, so this is a still hunting lease in Weewall. Okay, deer, hog, turkey, it goes on down. It's been logged, but been replanted. 7,000 acres, $1,800 a member is not bad. Really, that's a pretty good price. 3 stands per member. All these little things are important. And the membership covers a husband, a wife, and the kids living in the home and in school under the age of 18. They've got it set up here. That's some good rules. But let them know something before March the 25th, and that is Bobby Creamer. Let me mention about these leases and all what's so important. You know, people want to lease some and people want to find some, so you get together. And again, that rule right there about the family is part of the membership, that's a big deal. So Bobby, good job there. Hope everything gets filled up. Billy Grantham. Billy's a part-time comedian, so he sent this the other day. He said, wow, spring is just around the corner. I'll let you look at it a minute and see what Billy's talking about. Spring is just around the corner. Thank you, Billy Grantham, for giving us a smile. Out in the woods the other day, this is not my plate, but I had something very similar. Sardines, I usually have to, I'll put pressure on myself whether to have sardines or ballenas in the woods if you're out there all day. Okay, and I'm gonna read this later. Okay, I know this is, I showed him the other day. He just said, Brother Winston, thanks for the shout out. Wilbur Miller's cousin, he was born in Panama City 80 years ago, and still remember a lot of things we talk about. And he lives in the delta between San Francisco and Sacramento in a backwater town called Suzanne City. The news is so bad, listen to this last sentence. The news is so bad now that I started watching your show with my last cup of coffee. This is a view from back porch. I get a lot of that, people saying they're tired of bad news, don't want to watch my show. But that's a cool view out there in California. You wouldn't think that'd be a picture in California. Okay, speaking of gators, this was taken from a phone camera, and this was down around Fort Myers, and they zoomed in on it. But isn't that a great picture? All the ridges, you don't recognize the ridges. You know, we talked about on yesterday's show, the photography and all. So I saw the gators and started thinking about my Gator football team, and then I ran across this, and this is for Terry Marsh and all my Gators. Being a Gator fan isn't stressful at all, said John at 26 years old. Okay, and then the last one, to make us all feel better here in the Southeast, Michigan is only the second team outside the red circle to win a national championship in the last 18 years. So you see the red circle here, and you know that takes in, if you're looking at it really close, that takes in Clemson way up there, and Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU. So that's pretty cool stuff. I didn't know that. But anyway, I didn't want to get started off on the football and all, but I saw the Gators and my mind just started thinking, but all my Gator buddies and all would appreciate some of those Gator jokes. Let's take a break, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. You know, always looking at different ways to help the outdoorsmen find different places and different ways to conserve our area for fishing and hunting and all that, you know, with land. And we had the Parker Pier. It's been under construction for quite some time. David Vest sent me some pictures, and I actually went by there this weekend, Sunday afternoon, and just took some pictures of it because I wanted to share with you. Thank you, David Vest, for letting me know about it when everything's going on. But here we go right here. The Parker City Pier funding for this project was provided through the National Resource Damage Assessment early restoration program from the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Now, that's a long term. Basically, it goes back, they're getting money, I'm going to tell you later how much about that oil spill. That was way back in 2010, believe it or not, but some of that money is finally now to re-nourish and re-establish some of the damage it was done. And I'm just so proud of the city of Parker for putting in this pier. So anyway, I'm just going to show some video on it, and here we go. I went down there, okay, this is from my phone. So that's a Tyndall Bridge. Okay, I'm facing toward Tyndall. For you folks out of town, I'm trying to get you located. And they just did an outstanding job in this construction. I don't know what company did it, but I mean, look at this. It's got a dividing line, so you stay on one side. But that's really that's all concrete surface in there, concrete. And so I'm walking out now. I'm facing north toward East Bay. This is East Bay, and then back toward this area here, the parking area and picnic area. Good drainage and sandy beaches over there. So you bring the kids, let them play on the beach, and you can fish some. Then I do a series of clips. Now, of course, you put your line, recycle the line right there. But I thought this is cool. A little walk, little steps right here, and the tide was coming in. So, but you step right down into the water, and the first thing I think of, man, this would be ideal for wade fishing. Folks, don't tell anybody, but go around that point right there and wade out there. There's some excellent wade fishing, all the way down through that area. Okay, but keep that a secret, the Panhandle Outdoors people. Okay, now the next clip, I'm walking out up here. I'm still facing, I'm just showing where the erosion control is. Again, that's a good little shallow area right there. So I'm walking out, I got a kick. These people are already getting, I love it, they're already fishing on it. And then a couple of, there's several little posters out there or signs talking about discard, and everybody I know does that. Discard their line, take care of it, and different things, and just different information. I was just talking about, this is really, I'm walking here. You know what? I still had a camera on, didn't know I was walking. Okay, let's go. Now, notice where it steps down. The rail don't go straight across, a step down rail, so young people, kids can fish off there too. The whole pier is built like that. That first one I've ever seen, and that is really good thinking on the folks that drew this up. Okay, I'm walking on out there. It was cold Sunday afternoon, the wind was blowing. And these people are diehard fishermen. I didn't get their names and all, but I'm walking on out there. Now, there is a strong current in East Bay. I don't think any of my viewers, I don't think none of y'all be jumping off, but some of these young people might be. There's a really strong current. So now it makes a dog leg. This is what's interesting, so you can fish. It's not just at the end there, the dog leg's got different depth of water. Well engineered, well designed. And it's open to all of us. Okay, let's see, I got one or two more. I'm working my way toward the end. This is a couple here. They walked by me, and then I caught up with them, and they were happy. Look at it, she's happy right there. All right, we're going to go. And both of them are smiling, but they're wrapping up because it's cold. What a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon. I walk on down here and get set up. See, the benches are in good shape. This guy here has been fishing on the left about 30 minutes, hadn't caught anything yet. Plenty of room here. And facing the Tyndall Bridge, and the channel's not too far, and different things. I always like to look at the welcome sign, and what's the first thing you see? Here are the rules. Number one, no alcohol. Okay, no pets, no fireworks, and those rules are important. Okay, and then I'm swinging back up toward the East Bay area. I talk about it every Friday. The East Bay area has a lot of fish because it's not developed that much up in there. Okay, walking back, and those guys are coming out. They're cold too. And I think, let me see, I got this one last one maybe. Oh, all the apartments and all. Those people live in apartments, they have it made. They've got their own private, not private, own pier and all. So I just wanted to share that with you. And talking about, I got interesting because they did so well on that. I looked up the oil spill. I didn't know it was way back in 2010 because I know a lot of that, there was so much money out there. I want to give you all the facts on it. I wondered, because as a conservationist outdoorsman, I want as much of that money as we can to go to those areas like this. So I started looking up. Here's the facts, just real quick. Got 3 or 4 little quick slides. I wrote this on my little. The oil spill was 2010. Remember, it lasted from April through September. Okay, it was 210 million gallons of, that's amazing, of oil. And in 2013, they were still, this is 3 years later, they were still getting record numbers of dolphins, marine life, they were still dying. And a lot of that came from the dispersant the government sprayed to help get rid of that. And I wrote down one word, cobia. There's no doubt in my mind that everybody I've talked to has said the same thing that knows about it. The cobia was really hurt. They fined them $20 billion, and then that's what I wanted to share with you. And I remember the late Scott Lindsay and I were talking about it when it happened for the next year or two. When it happened there, originally when it happened, okay, was right there in April, and that's when the cobia were up in this area in the northern part of the Gulf where it happened, and the breeding stock at that first year, he heard from his buddies out in Louisiana. They didn't want to publicize anything. They sort of kept everything under wrap because, you know, the big thing was human safety. And I think 11 people lost their life. But the guys that Scott knew in Louisiana, they said the cobia were they were really getting hurt bad. And we talked about it, and then you look at it now. So anyway, nature, and also it had a big effect on Apalachicola Bay. The oysters there, they've never recovered, and the locals will tell you that. So anyway, natural disaster is one thing, and man-made disaster is another thing. So anyway, they're still trying, saying all that to say this, they're still trying to help things out and get it better. So hopefully the oyster farming and all will bring some of the oysters back. Cobia, maybe they'll keep breeding those and get them back in the water. Let's take a break, be right back. Okay, welcome back. On tomorrow's show now, it's going to be very interesting. We're going to have the culinary teacher up in Mosley, and she's coming in, and Wesley Tilghman, who's been on the show before. Wesley had taken a deer, and they brought it back to the culinary class and outdoor ed, and they actually cut it up and all, and they're going to talk about doing that really cool stuff and how to cook game and everything. So it's going to be an interesting outdoor adventure. So listen, we're going to, I love it when I get calls from my viewers, especially if I make a mistake or don't get the right information. Before we get to that, let's do the fishing game times from Blue Water Outriggers. How about this morning from 7:45 to 9:45, tonight from 8:16 to 10:16. Remember last week, at the beginning on February 1st last week, we were talking about red grouper, and we couldn't, I forgot who my guest was, but we were talking about was being open, so I looked it up on my Fish Rules app, and it said closed. And you know, you're like me, you can't, the rules change and the seasons change so much with so many different species now, you have to look it up. Well, one of my viewers said, wait a minute, Coach, red grouper's open. So he said, go back to Fish Rules. So anyway, I have an iPad and a phone, okay? And they try to get them to work together as much as they can. Okay, I'm gonna look, I want you to work with me on this. Okay, this is Fish Rules app right here. Okay, so here's a grouper. Okay, that's a Mystic grouper. I'm going back. But first, way up there at the top, you can't read it. This is the Florida Gulf waters when I did this. Red grouper right here, red grouper. Open, okay, it's open. All right, now I'm gonna close this out. Okay, I'm gonna close that out. Okay, it was open there. So now, and he told me what had happened. There's different locations that you can put different locations and get the rules from. So, okay, I'm gonna go to my app right here. Here's Fish Rules up here, top left, and I'm gonna hit on it, and it's okay, but it's finding regulations and all that. So then I'm gonna go red grouper. But anyway, it actually says it is closed. Let me see, red grouper. It says it's closed. So what it is though, that's the locations. And the different locations you look up. So it's open in the Gulf, but it's closed in Atlantic. So that's what we're talking about. But thank you, I forgot who sent me or called me and told me about it. So very good, I appreciate y'all keeping me on my toes. Let's add some names real quick. Got some more names coming in. How about Robert Campbell, Panama City Beach, and Treva Campbell. That's a very sweet email you sent, Treva. Good to hear from y'all, the Campbells. Okay, from Southport. Susan Hahn and Ron Hahn from Southport. Okay, then we have Darius Smith and Joan Smith, I assume from Panama City. Wayne Vickers up there in Lynn Haven. And Elaine Vickers up there in Lynn Haven. Okay, I got that covered. Now, I look up, I used to have a pretty regular event of telling y'all stories out of my book and family stories and all. And I find myself more and more going back to it and read some of these stories. And I told Gail last night, putting the show together, I think I'm going to tell a story from the book. And then I started looking, and if you're doing a family story, it is so, to do it justice, you just you can't. It takes a lot of time. I don't have time to do a whole story. But before we get to that, one thing I didn't add about it right here: the Parker Pier, the date. Okay, the opening is going to be February 10th. That's this Saturday at 11 a.m. It's going to be like a ribbon cutting. This weekend, 11 o'clock. City of Parker are doing it. Thank you, David and Jan Best, for giving me that information. But anyway, I wanted to, speaking of the oysters, and I talked about it earlier, I did a story on the oysters in the book, and so I'm going to tie in today's story with it's really not a story on the family, it's really on the St. Andrew Bay oysters, and really fascinating information. This was 7, 8 years ago, talking about St. Andrew Bay oysters, and it was 15 cents a quart. 15 cents a quart now. But it goes on to say, there were just so many, and then out of St. Andrew Bay, North Bay, where the creeks coming into there, and there were actually this guy that wrote a book about Florida said no part of America can boast finer oysters than St. Andrews Bay. I've seen them 12 inches long. It goes on to say that all different things about they would bring Apalachicola Bay oysters here, and it was really that's 1837 they started documenting. So anyway, I was talking about the oysters and how they were all plentiful all around here, and with the development and putting up the Deer Point Dam and all that, they lost it. And now, ironically, they have some oyster farms out in West Bay. But it's amazing how the cycle goes around. So we want to take care of our environment. We've had a lot of information today. Got to wrap it up. Don't forget, our guest coming in tomorrow is going to be really interesting. So be sure and tune in. Thank you all so much for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We always appreciate the viewership. Do something good for someone else today, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.